Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to start with the physics session, that is one-dimensional elastic collision. So there are two types of collision. One is elastic collision and another one is inelastic collision. First we will write about elastic collision. Elastic collision. Elastic collision. A collision in which both momentum and kinetic energy are constant. Constant is called elastic collision. The another one is inelastic collision. Inelastic collision. Inelastic collision. A collision in which momentum is constant. Momentum is constant, but kinetic energy changes. Is called inelastic collision. So we will start with one-dimensional elastic collision. Dimensional elastic collision. Elastic collision. Elastic collision. So there will be two objects, that is m1 u1, the velocity is u1, and m2 u2. This is before collision, and m1 v1, m2 v2. And after collision, so according to the law of conservation of linear momentum, according to the law of conservation of linear momentum, before energy is equal to the after energy. Total momentum before collision is equal to total momentum after collision. That is m1 u1 plus m2 u2 is equal to m2 v1 plus m2 v2. So m1 u1 will be here, and m1 v1 will be here. We will go to the left side, we will take it left side, so it will be minus m1 v1 is equal to m2 v2 plus, sorry, it will be minus m2 u2 will go on left side, right side, so it will be minus m2 u2. Here we will take m1 common, m1 we will take common, u1 minus v1 is equal to here we will take m2 v2 minus u2. This is equation 1. So we will take according to the law of conservation of kinetic energy, the total kinetic energy is equal to before collision is equal to total kinetic energy after collision. So the formula of kinetic energy is half mv square. So it will be half m1 u1 square plus half m2 u2 square plus is equal to half m1 v1 square plus half m2 v2 square. So we will write as it is, and half both half will cancel on both sides, so it will be m1 u1 square plus m2 u2 square is equal to m1 v1 square plus m2 v2 square. Now we will take m1 v1 on left side, so m1 u1 square minus m1 v1 m1 u1 square minus m1 v1 square is equal to m2 v2 square minus m2 u2 square. We will take m1 common, so u1 square minus v1 square is equal to m2 square v2 square minus u2 square. Here we will use the formula of a square minus b square, that is a plus b a minus b. m1 u1 minus v1 and u1 plus v1 is equal to m2 v2 minus u2 v2 plus u2. So this is second equation. Now we will divide 1 and 2. So we will write equation 1, equation 2 first. m1 u1 minus v1 u1 plus v1 is equal to m2 v2 minus u2 v2 plus u2. So from second and first it will m1 this is second equation. From first equation m1 u1 minus v1 is equal to m2 v2 minus u2. So this will be cancelled. It will be u1 plus v1 is equal to v2 plus u2. So we will take v1 is equals to v2 minus u1 plus u2. So we will substitute in equation 1, substituting v1 in v1 in equation 1. So equation 1 is m1 u1 minus v1 is equal to m2 u1 v2 m2 u2 minus v2. So we will substitute v1 m1 u1 minus v2 minus u1 plus u2. We have substituted v1 here. M2 u2 minus v2. So we will multiply here m1 u1 minus m1 v2 minus plus. So m1 u1 plus, it will not be plus because minus plus, it will be minus. So minus m1 u2 is equal to m2 u1 minus m2 v2. Now it will be 2 m1 u1 minus m1 v2 minus m1 u2 is equal to m2 u1 minus m2 v2. Now we will take u1 now we will take m2 u1 on left side. So it will be m1 u2 minus m2 u1, and we will take m1 v2 on left side. m1 v2 minus m2 v2. Now m1 u1, and we will take common, that is, so we will take common as u2 minus u2 as common. So m1 plus m2 is equal to m1. So now we can take here v2 common. v2 we can take here common. So 2 m1 u1 minus u2 m1 plus m2 is equal to v2. So m1 minus m2 is multiply is like product here, so we can take here on left side, so it is in multiply, so we can take here as a divide, m1 minus m2 here. Now we got the value of v2, so now we will take here, this is equation 3. We have find here v2. Now v1 we have taken here v1, so now we will take v2. So we will write u1 plus v1 is equal to v2 plus u2, u1 minus u2 plus v1 is equal to v2. Now we will substitute v2 in first equation, v2 in first equation, m1 u1 minus v1 is equal to m2 u2 minus v2. Now u1 minus v1 is equal to m2 u2 minus v2. u1 minus v2. v2 means we will substitute v2 here, so u1 minus u2 plus v1 minus u2. Now m1 u1 minus v1 m1 v1 is equal to m2 u1 minus m2 u2. m2 u2 is here minus and minus, minus u2 minus u2 minus 2 u2, so minus 2 u2 means here we can write 2. Now plus, now we will take minus 2 m2 u2 on left side, so it will be 2 m2 u2 plus m1 u1 will be here, and now we will take here there is v1, so now we will take this one on left side. Now we will take m2 v1 plus here m2 v1 is here, m1 v1 is here, so from left side to right side when it will go, it will be plus. Now 2 m2 u2 plus, here we can take u1 common, so m1 minus m2, here v1 will be common, so m2 m2. Now we will write it can be written in divide, u1 m1 minus m2 is equal to v1, which will go in divide, this is 1, so m2 plus m1 plus m2 or m2 plus m1 by m2 plus m1. So now our one-dimensional elastic collision is done. Thanks for watching and make sure to subscribe our channel. Thank you.